The theme for this evening's session is empowering our leadership. Team leaders who are empowered feel more confident in their abilities, resulting in increased club activity, happier volunteers, and more impactful service projects. This evening, therefore, is about arming you with some key details such that you are empowered to empower the rest of your team members. At this point, I would like to introduce to you the members of the District Interact Committee, who will together with yours truly be presenting this evening's training session. We start off with Rotarian and Youth Service Director Yvonne from the Rotary Club of Paramaribo Residence, Suriname, Rotarian and Treasurer Wahida Ali from the Rotary Club of Georgetown Central, Guyana, District Alumni Chair, past Chair of the Rotary Satellite Club of St. Lucia Sunset, Samala Haynes Joseph, past President of the Rotary Club of Felicity Charleville, Trinidad, Tanisha Harry, and past President of the Rotary Club of Pinal, Trinidad, Nada Ramkasu. Our objectives for this evening are simply that we hope to educate, inspire, deepen your commitment to service, foster team working across our district. These are our objectives, which we will soon show on our presentation. But we encourage you interactors to note your own, and let's see if we were able to meet them. So we have a packed 2-hour session planned, and in line with our objectives, we will be touching on Rotary heritage, club governance, club management, service learning, service projects, fundraising, leadership challenges, and we'll share information on the various Interactors initiatives that are available at the district, at the zone, and the RI levels. We will have a couple of Q&A breaks in between, and this will allow you to ask some questions if you require to step away for a few minutes. But before we move into the presentation, I would like to ask that as far as possible, members turn on their cameras, keep their mics muted during the presentation, and place any questions that you may have in caps in the chat box. We will endeavor to address all of your questions during the Q&A at the end of the various presentations. Please also ensure that your first name is shown on the screen along with the name of your club, such that your fellow club members can reach out and connect. This closes out our introductory remarks, and we will now move right along to our first topic, our Rotary heritage, which will be presented by Youth Service Director Yvonne. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Saraya, for introducing. Thank you. And good evening, all of you. In every family, heritage is very important. Take a look in your own family. Lots of families have their own traditions, their own values, their own history, and these are passed from generation to generation. So as we are here together in an online meeting with all the Interactors and Rotarians, we also have a family here. We are an Interact family, and we also have a heritage, the Rotary heritage. Why is it so important? It is so important because our Rotary heritage is a very large part of who we are. And so it is important that we embrace that past and ensure that we pass on some of the unique elements to our future Rotarians, you all, the Interactors. So let's start with the journey. Here you see that in the next, yes, in the slide here, you see that the Rotary family is a big family. We have Rotaract, Interact, and Earlyact. And overall, we have like more than 1.4 million members and a lot of clubs. We are a family of service-oriented individuals. And it is our hope that we can see a natural flow and movement of members from early act into Interact, into Rotaract, and into the Rotary. So I myself, I was a Rotaractor, and now I am a Rotarian also. As you see that Rotary is a global network of more than 1.54 million Rotarians and Rotaractors, and it is still growing. We are a membership and service organization. We are people of action. We are passionate and committed, and we are along a whole family across the whole world. As we move through the slides, you will realize that Rotary has several characteristics. How is Rotary structured? Rotary is structured, and as you see here, we have different Rotary clubs. Rotary clubs are grouped into districts. Each district is led by a district governor. And you should all know the name of our district governor. So you can put it in the chat with caps on if you know who the district governor is. Districts are organized into zones, each led by a team of regional leaders. Our Rotary clubs, and by extension our Interact clubs, belong to Rotary International. You see that at the top, the Rotary International, which is led by the Rotary International President and a Rotary International Board of Directors. The zones and district are all numbered, and our district is belongs to the district 34. And maybe you can put in the chat if you know what district number we have. Our district has 70 countries and a lot of Rotary, Rotaract, Interact, and Early Act clubs. Let's talk about Rotary, how it all began. In the picture, you see 4 friends, Rotarians, and these 4 Rotarians started in 1905, the 23rd of February. They started to meet, and they met at the office of one of them, and so they rotated every time at another office. And that's what you see above are the wheels. The first design was a simple design, and among the time we had several designs. Still we had the last design was in 1923. That is the current design with which we still use. The Rotary was selected by the first members because the meeting location rotated among their offices. That's why the name Rotary came along. So they had the meetings at their office. The most important of all these 4 was Paul Harris. Paul Harris started. He was just one man, Paul Harris, and in 1905 he was inspired to start an organization where men of different professions would gather in fellowship. And in 1907 he did his first community service project, a public comfort station in Chicago in America. Believe it or not, until 1989 Rotary Club membership was only for males. Rotarian Sylvia Whitlock became our first female Rotary Club president. Rotary has a 4-way test. The 4-way test was formulated in Chicago by Rotarian Herbert Taylor. In the summer of 1932, during the Great Depression, had a serious business problem. And how he solved it is a legend of Rotary. He thought if he could introduce a moral compass to guide their business practices, he just might be able to resolve their business issues. And so he wrote 24 simple words that could go on to become part of the guiding principles of Rotary. I think a lot of the Interact clubs know the four-way test already. And if you don't know it, you can also Google it and you will find it. This is the Rotarian Herbert Taylor. And the Rotary four-way test, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? This is very important. The Rotary has 6 core values. Fellowship. Fellowship is like in our DNA. Fellowship keeps us happy, generates greater tolerance of others, and transcends all boundaries. Integrity. Integrity, honesty, and ethics. These are the backbone of Rotary and something we expect from each other, from our leaders and members across all service clubs. Diversity. We believe that through diversity, we can broaden the scope of activities, programs, or service and expand our reach. Service. Service is one of the main elements and initiative we pursue within each of our individual clubs. Fuels a service culture. Leadership. You are future leaders. We believe in the development and nurturing of current and future leaders in our clubs and communities. I hope that you all understand this. Rotary has a motto, service above self. That is very interesting because we know Rotary has deemed its principal motto to be service above self, as it best conveys our belief in unselfish volunteer service. So it is very important. Rotary has a mission and a vision. The mission is to provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through our fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. The vision, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. Very important in Rotary are the areas of focus. I think when you are making your year program, you use also the areas of focus. So we have 7 areas of focus: fight disease, promote peace, provide clean water, sanitation, and hygiene, save mothers and children, support education, grow local economics, and support the environment. Very important, the areas of focus. Last Monday, the 24th of October, we had, I think all of you did an End Polio project. And you see that the Rotary Foundation is the Rotary's charity. The Rotary, the vision became the Rotary Foundation, which started with a donation of $26.50. Since it was founded more than 100 years ago, Rotary spent more than $4 billion on life-changing sustainable projects and over $17 billion on Polio Plus. Rotary began our fight against polio in 1979 with a project to immunize 6 million children in the Philippines. Today, over 2 billion children have been immunized across the world. I think that Rotary serving humanity is very important. So you see here, education, grow economics, friendship, ethics, youth mentoring, Save Blood. They do a lot of projects. We have come an end to this heritage of the Rotary heritage. Thank you. And we will now move on to the next item on the agenda, club governance. Rotarian Wahida, over to you.
Thank you, Rotarian Yvonne. Before I start the topic, I will share a fact about
Before you move on, Rotary and Wahida, we just have a quick poll on heritage that's on the screen. So we'll be giving about a minute for persons to address, and then you will start.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, participants. I'm seeing that you're responding. You have about 30 more seconds, less than 30 seconds, really. Okay, so we've shared the responses, and just so you know, the correct answer for what were our values, we had 70 persons getting that, or 83%. It was service, fellowship, diversity, integrity, and leadership. And we're so happy to see that more than 81% of persons who answered really feel good about being in Rotary. Thank you, and I'm now going to pass on to our Rotarian to lead us through the next section.
Interact Club of Melbourne High School of Florida was the first Interact Club. This club was started on the 5th of November, 1962, and sponsored by Rotary Club of Melbourne. So this year, we will be celebrating its 60th anniversary. Interact 60th anniversary. Interact clubs are self-governing and are guided by a constitution and bylaws. Even though the clubs are self-governing, interactors must be supervised by their advisors. In keeping with Article 10 of the Constitution, each member of a club, by his or her acceptance of membership, agrees to accept and to adhere to the provisions of the Constitution and bylaws of his or her Interact club. Usually, when a member joins the club, the Constitution and bylaws are issued to the new member. The Constitution and bylaws are important documents. Therefore, the Board of Directors should be familiar with the club's constitutional documents. The executive officers who form the club's board shall be a president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and such additional officers as provided for in the bylaws. I will get into more details regarding the bylaws later in the presentation. The standard Interact Constitution is a set of rules for running your club. It also effectively outlines the purpose and powers of the club as provided by Rotary International. All clubs are governed by the Constitution issued by Rotary International. The Interact Constitution has 14 articles. The bylaws are a set of requirements that specifically govern how your club is managed. The purpose is to preserve and protect the club. It also covers the integrity and the character of the club and its members. Any changes to the bylaws must be consistent with the standard Interact Club Constitution and the Rotary Code of Policies. There are 8 articles in the recommended bylaws. However, you can add more articles and paragraphs. The sponsor club must approve the bylaws and any amendments. The standard constitution and recommended bylaws were shared with our club advisors, sponsor club presidents, youth service advisors. I will show you a specimen of the recommended bylaws. So this specimen here relates to the Interact Club of Greenville High School. And this, the bylaws were adopted on September 1st, 2022, and it was approved by the Rotary Club of Blooming Sunshine on this date. So I'm scrolling the bylaws now. So Article 1 deals with definition. And then Article 2 deals with election in terms of office. Article 3 is there. Committee is covered in Article 4 and Article 5. So I'm going to pause here a little. So for meetings, Article 5, paragraph 2, for this club, the club meets on Monday at 12 hours. And the board meets on the second Friday at 16 hours. So I'm going to scroll a little more here. And the areas here, this is where the club would have indicated their information. So we are at Article 6, fees and dues. So for this club, there is an admission fee of $5. And also there is an annual dues of $20. But in addition to that, the club made a note here, this is the words in blue, that when this due should be paid. So they're saying it should be, it's payable by September 30th. And these are the other information for the recommended bylaws. I should also let you know where the Interact Club is school-based, control and supervision by the sponsor club shall be exercised in full cooperation with school authorities, with the understanding that such clubs are subject to the same regulations and policies established by the school authorities for all student organizations and extracurricular activities of this school. I will now stop share the bylaws and I will invite committee member Zamala to continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rotary and Wahida. I will speak a little on club management at this time, and I will be aided with the transition of the slides as well. So we're really going to be talking about the roles of the leadership. This is what club management means. What roles do we have to lead and help the club? And just like Rotary, you have this governing body, which we call the board of directors. And this board is required to meet at least once a month. And you really have to take notes, keep proper minutes, and ensure that you record any action and report on the actions that the Interact Club is doing. So your board has your Rotarians and your faculty advisors that attend those meetings to guide you, to help you, and to be with you as you go along making your decision. And from time to time, you may want your club members to attend as observers. But what really is the responsibility? They're governing body, they're managing the committee. They are about planning the club's activities for the year. They are about reviewing and approving your club's plans, your service and fundraising projects, leading your club meetings. They keep your membership strong and engaged, and they manage growth and retention. As a board of director, you must ensure you plan for succession. That simply means what is going to happen next year? Who is going to take on the roles and responsibilities in the upcoming year? You prepare your end of year report and ensure that you sort of highlight what were the major activities, what were the accomplishments. You want the Rotarians and the Rotary family to know what you did well, and you submit that to your sponsor Rotary Club. The executive officers of every club must be the president, the vice president, the secretary, and the treasurer. That means even if you don't have any other positions filled, these 4 positions should have a responsible person. And your directors, it should have directors, but if it is that you're struggling or you don't have enough members, it is understood that the first 4, president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, is filled, and you should have a club service, a club director, a service director to handle your community service activities, international understanding director, and finance director. So these are on a should have basis based on our rules of procedure. I hope you can see this slide well, but your president appoints an all standing and special committees with the board approval. The president serves as ex officio to all committees. That just means your president can attend and be part of any standing committee or ad hoc committee that the club sets up. Your president meets with the board of directors. They lead your board of directors meeting. They are the ones that you choose as your leadership to guide and to really lead the club and its directors in its activities. So the agenda and running the meetings, delegating responsibilities, that is the role of the president. And you must ensure that as a president, you lead the communication within your Rotary family. That is your advisor, your district interact chair, as needed. As a leader, you're responsible for not necessarily doing the recruitment, but leading the recruitment efforts. You're responsible for ensuring that you have installation of your board. And it's always nice as a president to be able to pin members. So you get the recruitment going, you lead and you direct, but you also responsible for that installation and making sure that the new board is in place before the 31st of March every year. So the vice president is really there as support. And in the absence of the president, the vice president presides and assumes all the responsibilities of the president. The vice president also is a member of that board, and one of the positions that should always or must always be filled. And the secretary is the one that keeps the minutes, keeps the records, attendance, participation. The secretary maintains really the records that the club has, including for its committees, the dues. They assist the treasurer with maintaining those records as needed. And your treasurer, that's the money person. They are responsible for the funds, maintaining the accounts and the records of the dollars and cents of the club. So very important because you must handle the budget. So we do have a few standing committees because we have some officers that we have already selected or elected. So they are able to administer or manage the club's affairs through committees. That's the club committee, the finance committee, the service committee, and the international understanding committee. And guess what? Remember I spoke about the directors and the club leaders. These persons are the ones who respectively lead and head those committees. So the club committee is responsible for tracking attendance, developing membership, and promoting activities and other matters, and of course led by the club director. The finance committee develop ways to finance club activities, how we going to get the funds, you know, how we're going to raise funds, and they do it really in cooperation with other committees, and they could be temporary committees, like you have a short-term fundraising committee. The finance committee will work closely with them. Our service committees plan and implement at least one major project annually, at least one. We need to get our service projects in there, but a project that is designed to benefit our local communities or our school communities, and try to streamline it and make it focused on our areas of focus within Rotary. So you're able to see the linkage in the district with the work that your Rotary Club does, or even other Interact clubs that you have operating close by. And international understanding committees focus on enhancing our international understanding among members in the school and our community. So we do have other committees that it's possible for your club to have established. Your environment committee to generate interest in the environment and of course initiate environment projects, public image or public relations, and you may have an officer responsible for that. It's not necessary that you have a committee, but at least you have these optional officers who would be facilitating these activities. So if you don't have enough members to have a full-fledged committee, definitely get these officers instated. So you can have a class officer that is the officer for each grade or each class, each form, whatever that might be applicable to you. And these officers will assist in the club communications within the grade, the form, or class level. You might want to have a newsletter editor to work with, again, communication, creating newsletter, keeping members engaged, informed, and of course, informing outside persons, potential members. This is what we're doing through a captivating newsletter. And a volunteer coordinator that's going to work up on the sign-up list, or volunteer is when we have project, service, fundraising, etc. And membership works closely to build on the efforts of retaining members and even recruiting new members when needed. So that is a very brief summary. What is the management, as I said, the leadership, the roles and responsibilities, and some of the committees. And before I hand off, we have a quick poll here, just a very quick question. Do you have any of the club officer roles in your, do you have any club officer roles within your club that was not discussed? So is there any role that your club has that is different, is unique, is not part of what I would have touched on or presented? And you have, again, about, I'll give you 30 seconds for this so we can catch up with time. Okay, so I think the poll has ended. And I am not seeing it sharing the results. I'm not sure why, but I will pass on in the interest of time. And if I'm able to, I will come back to sharing those results. Oh, there we go. So we have just about 16% who have unique roles. So in the chat, drop us a line, let us know what those unique functions or club officer roles are. And I'm happy to see that 84% of you would have seen all the roles and functions within your club discussed or shared. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass on now.
Thank you so much, Chair Samala. Thank you to Rotary and Yvonne. Thank you to Rotary and Wahida for the presentations that you've delivered so far. I'm really hoping that the attendants are finding the information being shared useful, helpful. When I started off, I suggested that you determine what your own individual objectives were for this session. So I hope so far we are meeting or come very, very close to what these objectives are. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, as we've said before, please place them in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling about the information thus far. So we are on to a new segment, service learning. What is service learning? Well, before I even go into service learning, I want to say that in this segment, which I will be hosting, we are going to touch very quickly on, as we see on the slide, service learning, service projects, and fundraising. Now, we want you to note that this is only an introduction to the concept of service learning. And we are hoping that further discussions will continue in your clubs with your faculty advisors and Rotarian advisors during club meetings. So for the Rotarians that are with us this evening, I think it's important that I share at this point that the Introduction to Service Learning or Service Learning Workshop is actually a course that is available on the Learning Center. So if you'd like to have additional information such that you can support your Interact clubs going forward, then I invite you to check it out on the Learning Center. So this is a relatively new topic, and it is not intended that Interactors grasp this fully this evening. Service learning was introduced to Interact about 3 years ago in partnership with the Leadership Youth Council out of the US. We do have a workbook on the topic, which we will share in the chat for your subsequent reading. But why is service learning important? We feel it is an important introduction because it introduces an educational approach that simply combines learning objectives with community service. And it is considered a learning tool to create a greater awareness and empower you, our young persons, to solve problems in your communities and globally. As interactors who have a keen focus on community service, we believe that you are already conducting a form of service learning, given that your hands-on and full engagement in ongoing community service projects is already evident. However, as the name implies, service learning combines community service with learning objectives to develop leadership skills, and we believe will enhance your service projects activity. It is certainly considered a more holistic approach to community service and includes a dynamic inquiry process intended to teach young people how to address, how to assess, and reflect on a genuine community need and move a selected project's activity from direct service to advocacy. If you could move to the next slide, please. Within this service learning environment, there are 3 types of service learning projects. But what are these? Service learning says that projects can be direct, indirect, or advocacy oriented. So direct service means working directly with the people who benefit directly from your service. Examples include tutoring younger students and delivering meals to people with limited mobility. Now, indirect service means working to support other efforts that help people, such as cleaning up a playground, raising funds for a cause, or collecting books for a school or library that needs them. Now, advocacy involves raising awareness about an issue. Examples include speaking to a city council, for example, to support a policy change, or launching a public information campaign about an issue like eradicating polio. These are the three types of service learning projects, right? So, for example, I'll give you another one. Direct service would be serving food to persons in need. That is considered a direct service. Holding a fundraiser for a cause that you care about. That is considered indirect service. Writing letters to a central authority, some board, some government, even your school, about a policy change. That's advocacy. So moving on, to expand further, in a service learning environment, when young people pick up garbage on the beach, that is considered service. When young people decide to examine the water samples under a microscope to see the impact on our water, that is the learning element. So if you put that all together, when young people clean up a beach, examine water samples before and after cleanup, document their findings, and even present them to a pollution control agency, that is service learning in totality. I'm hoping that you understand the concept of service learning at this point. So if we could move on. I had spoken before about service learning being this dynamic tool, right? And it's reflected here as a cycle, highlighting the various steps of the process. It is shown as a cycle because each phase is as important as the one before. Each phase allows you to deepen your learning or understanding and do more to address the root causes of the issues faced by your community or the world at large, depending on what you're looking at. So if you follow the cycle, it starts with investigation, which allows you to identify the genuine community need and its causes. And then you move to planning and preparation. So based on your research, you can now plan a realistic and meaningful service project with clear goals, timelines, and follow-up plans. Next on the cycle would be action. So you would implement your plan at this point using direct, indirect, or advocacy-based service, as we discussed before. But service learning goes further to include reflection, which should take place at every stage of the process. But following action, this is a good time for you to think about what went well, what went wrong, and what was learned. And finally, we have demonstration, where you can speak to your club members about what was learned, the impact made in the community, and share recommendations based on your findings from the reflection stage. So investigation and planning is pre-service, and reflection and demonstration is post-service, meaning after the service activity. Now, I believe that you are already doing this in some form in your clubs, but service learning seeks to provide some structure to project activities and is expected to enhance the process. So I'm really hoping at this point that the information shared on service learning is not as clear as mud, that you actually have some level, a bit of understanding. We will share, we actually, as I indicated before, we will share some workbooks in the chat in a couple of minutes, and you get to read it at your own leisure and involve your faculty advisor, your club advisor, sponsor club advisor, as you dig deeper and gain a better understanding of what service learning is. The objective being that you allow it to enhance your service project process, right? So that we can have more meaningful and impactful projects. If you have any questions at all on this, as we've said before, place in the chat and we'll endeavor to answer. Right? So that is service learning in a nutshell. And moving on to service projects, this will likely be a refresher for most. Interact clubs must carry out 2 service projects each year, as we've indicated before, one that helps the school or community and one that promotes international understanding. I just want to pause here a little bit to talk about international projects. So what makes a project international? Well, an international project is any activity that promotes better understanding of and an appreciation for other cultures. So often these projects involve members of your local community, while others can benefit communities outside of your own community and across the world. So for example, hosting an international festival to increase your school or community's awareness of different cultures, volunteering your club's time and energy for an international cause, supporting a service project in another country, or setting up an online exchange activity with another club in another district or even within your own district. These are all considered international projects. Service projects are a great way for Interact clubs to get involved in the community, connect with youth around the world, and attract new members. Service projects cover a wide range of issues, but you want to keep in mind any service goals already set by your club and sponsor Rotary Club as well. Gain support for club projects by choosing service activities that address real needs in the local or international community. And if you have a project that you feel that you want to look at on the international stage, by all means, engage your Rotary Club advisor as well as your faculty advisor. So moving on, before your club decides on a project, you need to consider the following. What services are needed in your school, in your communities? Which local or international organizations could use your club's assistance? Can you collaborate with your sponsor? Can you collaborate with your sponsor Rotary Club or local Rotaract Club on its service efforts? Can you collaborate with another local Interact Club or a club that's in another country? These are all questions or considerations where, as you determine the best service project or service activity for your club. Continuing with our questions as you review your service plans. What type of service projects fit within your club's budget? With a little imagination and hard work, we believe the possibilities are limitless. Though clubs are welcome to select their own projects, consider choosing projects that coincide as well with the calendar of Rotary observances, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with those. Some of the most rewarding projects are those conducted with Interact clubs in other countries. Establish correspondence with a club from another district, plan an online exchange, conduct online meetings or simultaneous projects. These are all suggestions and ideas, but of course you are free to choose and decide based on your own club board's determination. So moving on to fundraising. I'm still asking for questions. I'm hoping that you are listening. There are no questions. Perhaps we are very, very clear, or I am very, very clear in what is being presented. but still asking to share your thoughts on the presentation so far. So moving on to fundraising. Thank you very much, Fazil. Moving on to fundraising. So your board has agreed to consider a particular service project, and you need to decide now how this project will be funded. So this information may again simply be a refresher to some, but a few points to note. Interact clubs are primarily self-financed, and typically your club service projects and other activities will be financed through fundraising. Now, the idea of taking part in fundraising may be a bit uncomfortable for you. I know it is for some adults, especially if you're doing this for the first time. Talking about money can be sensitive, and asking for money is even more so. So whether you're selling tickets, merchandise, or making requests for sponsorships, it is natural to feel a bit awkward or even a bit nervous at first. But understanding these few tips on fundraising, and with support and guidance from your faculty advisor and your club advisor, you can learn to become more confident in this area. We think also that if you strongly believe in your cause and you are an effective advocate for it, you should have little difficulty raising your funding. Your advocacy, coupled with your professionalism, your thorough preparation, your commitment, and conviction should result in successful fundraising for your club. So a reminder here that all funds raised for service projects must be expended for the intended purpose. We move on. Hosting a successful fundraising event without a doubt requires forward planning. So before hosting a fundraiser, you should create a plan. Identify your fundraising needs. Determine all available resources. Assess health and safety risks. Establish a budget. Set realistic goals based on available financial support. Describe how members will be organized. Ensure all members of your club are involved. You want to engage all of your members as far as possible in all of your projects. Consider and address school community restrictions for fundraisers, and then outline the event's logistics, such as selecting the location, etc. Right? These are all considerations that would augur well for your fundraising event. So our fundraising tips continue. You want to provide ways to measure your success. What would a successful fundraiser look like to you? The amount of funds, the amount of money raised, the number of participants, the number of club members involved. It's a good thing to actually document what a successful fundraiser looks like at the end, right? So consider how to publicize the event for maximum benefits. Promote your project through your local media or other agreed medium. And I say agreed medium because, again, you want to do this hand in hand with your faculty advisor and your sponsor club. At the end, you want to conduct a post-evaluation. What was done well? What could have been done differently for a better outcome? And do not forget to say thank you. We must thank our supporters, our stakeholders, our club members, everyone and anyone who contributed to our event. Finally, fundraising ideas, it's an inexhaustive list. Be creative, imagine the possibilities. I have listed some basic ones, but I'm pretty sure you have some unique fundraisers, and if you care, please share in the chat. But do not afraid to think big, right? Just remember that in all of this, forward planning is required, and you must obtain the approvals of your faculty advisor and your club sponsor. We cannot stress this enough. So present a proposal to your school or sponsor club for support. Get Rotarians, Interactors, and other clubs involved. Rotary encourages collaboration because good and solid partnerships facilitate extraordinary service projects. This brings this segment to a close. We hope you found this informative, and we look forward to hearing all about your amazing projects. Looking forward as well to collaborations amongst your fellow Interact clubs. I do know that, and I've seen on the screens that the Interact clubs have indicated the clubs that they're from. So again, I'm encouraging you to reach out and connect. Thank you very much.
So just before you move on, one moment, we have a poll. So you will see on your screen, and I liked that they said you were so clear, Chair Soraya, and I'm hoping they can answer the question. So the first one, we just want you to tell us, what is your best community service project? And the second one, I hope you were listening. What is the correct order of the stages of service learning? So I'm going to give you about a minute again. And while I was talking, I hoped you would have started working because we are already at the 30-second mark. So type in the name of your best community service project and then choose what is the correct order of the stages. We want to see people responding. There are over 100 persons on this call. And I am seeing that there are only 4 people who've responded. Come on, you have about 30 more seconds to get your answers in there. And guess what? There's never a wrong answer because this is all about learning. And my son, who is 5 years old, always says, Mommy, a mistake is an opportunity to learn. So even if you can't get it wrong, you can just find out how you learn and improve. So please let us know. And I'm about to close the poll. And there we go. Thank you. Oh, I did not submit. I'm sorry about that. We'll try it again towards the end, but we will move on.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nisha Harry, and I would be presenting on leadership challenges, and of course, leadership empowerment. Welcome, and I feel privileged to be here. So So I have to ask you, and you will have a chance to respond after. We want to make it interactive, so save your questions, your comments, and your response as well. And you can always write on the chat. You know, you are all leaders in your own right. You are here today, you are part of the Interact board, and I want to ask you to think about it, to cogitate. What does leadership mean to you as students? What do you think would make you an effective leader? And if you have to look at it, I want you to think about the traits that you have, that you think would make you a very effective, visionary, wonderful leader. Your skills and your particular habits, your behaviors. What behavior would match the skills that you have to show us that you are really, really an effective leader? And you see in the circle some common leadership styles. You know, we look at bureaucratic. We have heard a lot about that. Autocratic, transformational, transactional, visionary, democratic, servant, And, you know, think about it. Are you one or the other? Do you even want to be one or the other? Or are you really, you know, in terms of your leadership skills as students, as leaders of the Interact clubs, do you have an eclectic approach, an eclectic style where you combine the best of each of those or some of those so that you would be a really, really dynamic leader? You know, you see a multiplicity of leadership styles. So the idea is to adopt the features of the leadership styles that would allow you to lead successfully, you know, and emerge with your goals for your clubs together. Okay, you, of course, as I say, may use a combination. Let's take, for instance, the transformational leaders. They inspire, they motivate, they are accountable, they are visionary. Passionate are you? Adaptable. For example, we know of Steve Jobs, right? He was famous for his transformational, visionary leadership. He was able, through his vision, to make Apple a force to be reckoned with in terms of the technological world. Can you? And you could write on the chat, Miss, I'm a pace setter, awesome, Rihanna. You know, can you think of other examples of student leaders, of youth leaders in the world? You can write it in the chat that inspired you, that perhaps have some of the features of a transformational leader. Even you could talk about your club, any members that you think are dynamic, you can write it, and with any of the posts, you know, and think the United Nations recently spoke about student leaders, you know, in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic. And one name that comes to mind is Christian Achaliki, and he's from Cameroon. And he produced with a team, of course, and his vision and his goal was to produce bottles of disinfectant for that country because they were lacking. He used the standards that WHO gave, and he was able to disperse bottles of disinfectant. Tell me on the chat, what kind of leader do you think he is? What kind of student leader? You know, and we could bring in democratic. Did he have aspects of that? You know, so all these characteristics you can adopt, the good characteristics of the leadership styles in terms of your own context, because each context would be different. Do you want to be just autocratic, where you alone take control of decisions in your Interact club, where you alone make all the decisions in terms of service learning that the IC Soraya just spoke about so wonderfully? You know, I really understood it and I really enjoyed her presentation. Or do you want to be as well visionary to inspire others, set clear goals, and bring on a team to create a plan to attain these goals? Think about it. Next slide. So some of the areas, you know, in terms of student leadership and characteristics that we hope you can, you know, be really, really empowered with would be some of these. You have to be accountable. You are not one person in that club, and you have to be accountable, you know, in terms of all the different levels that my colleague spoke about today, you know, to your advisors, to the teacher advisors, to the Rotary Club, to your own Interact club. You know, are you critical? Can you solve problems that could emerge? Are you courageous in your decisions? You know, responsible. Can you accept criticism and take those criticisms constructively and positively for the betterment of the club? You know, decision-making skills are important. Sometimes the club, the body, the committee cannot make decisions. But based on what they say, you may very well have to come up with a decision. Take risks. You know, and I want to remind you as student leaders, some of you are leaders here today, some of you are now in a club. How do you get there? Ask yourself, to be effective student leaders or more effective? Because I'm sure you all are effective. What can you do? Because there's always room for growth to become better. What can you do? What are the skills you think will empower you to be where you want to be? Not where you are at now, but where you want to be. And I want to draw reference to the World Economic Forum that speaks about, 21st century skills for student leaders and transversal skills. And we can narrow it down to sometimes the 4 C's, and some of it you see in front of you. Collaboration, creative thinking, critical thinking, problem-solving skills. There's also skills that focus on character qualities. Who are you? Your character. Very, very important, because you want to make a positive difference as a student leader. What are your qualities for leadership? What are your character qualities? Are you adaptable? Can you adapt to situations? And we'll give some examples as I go along. Are you persistent, or do you give up easily? Are you resilient, patient, determined? Do you have an open mind, a good attitude? In terms of the global world, in terms of your local region, and internationally, are you culturally and socially aware of what is going on? And bringing this into your club in terms of all that you do, whether it's, just cleaning up a beach. What does this mean internationally, locally, and regionally? And those are very, very important, ethical and intercultural understanding that we take for granted. You can move to the next slide. And those are very, very important for you. Integrity, self-respect, empathy. And I'll talk a little bit about that, because sometimes we take it for granted. We were elected and it's all about me. And you walk with a certain, in a certain way where, sometimes, I'm not saying you, but some leaders, this is me, rather than understanding it's so much more for you to be a very effective leader, awareness and openness. And, we can move to some of the challenges and leadership challenges that you face as student leaders in your club. And there are many, and we have suggested indirectly how you can address some of these, but I want to hear from you. What about if you do not have support from your board even, or support from the wider membership, those who are not on the board? What about teamwork? Can you get your team to work? And if you can, and it's working, that's excellent. It means that this is not a challenge. Or do you have challenges with teamwork in some projects and not in others? Poor communication channels. This is very, very important. Sometimes, you just have communication among members of the board, but it doesn't go out to the rest. And you saw a little while ago, they talked about social media. That is also, communication channels to your advisors, to your Rotary Club. That's very, very important, and do you take advice from others, or do you feel that you know it all? What about conflict between, a lot of us in schools? Yes, we know your academic pursuits important, but what about that dilemma and that conflict that you could face in terms of your leadership role and your academic pursuit, your leadership role in the Interact Club? How do you address that? Think about it, and we look at those coming towards the end for the question and answer. What about if you have a large group of interactors that you have to lead? How do you lead that large group? Are you overwhelmed, or do you have opportunities to show who you really are and how you can engage this last group and make it successful and use it to be very positive. And contextual issues, of course, some of the issues that might occur in a school in a rural region, you may have another issue with a school in an urban region, or a school with a diverse population more than another school that may not have that issue. So think about it, issues where you have support from the principal go down, and somewhere you could use more support. How do you deal with those challenges? And I'll give you a story quickly in terms of challenges that I experienced many years ago with an Interact club. And it's very simple, and it's tied into fundraising. The Interact president wanted to raise funds, via cake sale and other delicacies. But 4 members, and these were not members of a board, but it was non-members, but they belonged to the Interact club. They thought that really would be a good idea if you want to raise a little bit of funds, but it was more a cake and not creative enough to bring in the fundraising funds that they really wanted, because they wanted to look at the mangrove and to plant trees and to help restore it. So what happened is that the president felt shocked. She felt attacked, but they won't attack. They were not attacking her. They were just bringing their views. But she was limited in the sense that, it never came where, her idea was shut down. And it wasn't shut down. It was just that there were other creative ideas. Eventually, she was able to reflect. That reflection and that reflective practice is important to you, as student leaders, very, very important. She delineated and she taught, and then she said, maybe her idea might really be old-fashioned. It might be worthy, but, for this fundraising, maybe she could take the idea. And do you know what the other idea was? There were many, but this is what happened. When she decided to become open and flexible and showed respect for what creative ideas the other members had, they came up with producing a white t-shirt with the logo, "We support Interact." And at the back of it, they wrote "Youth Empowerment." And would you believe, all those jerseys sold out. And after that fundraiser, they had 20 more students from the school joining Interact. You know why? The words youth empowerment struck them and did something, and they wanted to be a part of that. And of course, it raised so much more money than the cake. And they had the cake sale as well, but this was the main. So, you have to understand, challenges and how to deal with it and how to empower others, and really to learn, because you always learning and growing. You are not a leader with everything that you came in. As I said in the beginning, you have to move forward. All right, let's move on. And of course, critical thinking. And I want you to think about this and write on the chat your views, in terms of the challenges that you would have faced. Identify a challenge that you have faced as a student leader, for example, in your Interact club or any other club in your school that matters to you. Suggest an action or change that could fix or mitigate this challenge. Address this challenge to a group that has the power to change the situation. I just gave you one. And what action the president took, and how she addressed it. Think about it, a real challenge that you face. Write it on the chat and we can discuss it after. Next slide. So it's very important to understand, that there are many challenges in terms of, and you have to be able to deal with it. And there's this by Kuz and Posner that speaks about the student leadership challenge. And I'll go through that very, very quickly. And what they really talk about in terms of this challenge is a model. We could turn to the next slide, and it's for student leaders specifically. And really, the model by Kuz and Posner talks about 5 practices of exemplary leadership. So they emphasize behaviors and practices. This is what is different. It's all about the behaviors. All right, and we'll see the 5 practices and some of the actions and behaviors. And they talk about model the way, inspire a vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. Very, very important. So leadership then, especially student leadership, is not just that title you get as student leader, whether in the form of a president or vice president. Effective leadership is really about developing consistent behaviors, practices, skills, a lot of what we mentioned, and competencies. So when you model the way, you have to begin by, let's say, unveiling your own values, looking in the mirror and asking, what are my values? What is important to me? And what do I stand for? It also includes commitment, engagement to the common goal, your entire club, that common goal. All right, so you also have to model the way by creating spaces for other values and beliefs, and embrace diversity and inclusion, core values of Rotary. Embrace diversity and inclusion when you're looking at your values, and they are core values of Rotary. And align those values to the shared values among your student body, your Interact body. All right, because those values will become the rock that builds trusting working relationships and allow you to achieve effective results. So what you have to do is be the kind of behavior you want to nurture, according to Quiz and Poisner, right? These words, the words that you choose in your, as president, vice president, leaders, student leaders, are metaphors for concepts that define your attitude, your behavior, structure, and systems. Always remember that. If you cut down people and you really ignore what they have to say, then that says a lot about you as a leader and how much you are going to accomplish. So it lends itself to inspiring a vision and a shared vision. So you have to create that common purpose and share it with your club and get them to envision these possibilities. You have to challenge the process sometimes, but with innovative ways to improve the club. You know, so you take risks sometimes. You go to the principal and say, you want to take a risk. Let's do it on a Saturday. Let's go on a Saturday and have fundraising instead of only with the students during the school, and invite the community and invite the public. Set these goals, get small wins, and then pursue bigger goals as outside the school now, the entire community. All right? And of course, part of empowerment and dealing with challenges is also challenging the process. All right? Enabling others to act as well. This is a dynamic, wonderful student leader that promotes teamwork and collaboration. Very, very important 21st century skills involving the entire club, creating that environment of trust and safety, strengthening others. And of course, one that I love and one that I hold very close, and I hope that you hold close to your heart, would be encourage the heart. What do we mean by that? You maintain high expectations about what individuals and teams can accomplish. You communicate positively your expectations. We're still on the previous slide. Clearly and regularly, all right? Create an environment that makes it comfortable to receive feedback from other interactors, other advisors, Rotarians. Find out the types of encouragement that make the most difference and pursue that and encourage that. Be creative when it comes to recognition. Have fun. Say thank you And I saw that DIC Soraya said that as well. That's with the heart, a leadership with the heart. Say thank you, a natural part of what you do every day. Next slide. Try to finish this. Right, and these are some that would have emerged with what we were talking about before. You know, decision making, very important. Active listening. Sometimes we listen, but it's not active listening. Sometimes you think there's a dilemma between your work and being in the Interact Club, when really that challenge could be addressed by proper time management. Sometimes not actively listening can cause a lot of conflict in the club. How do you deal with conflict, and how do you resolve conflict? Do you talk it out? Do you listen to others? Do you want to hear different views and deal with it? How is your communication skills? Are you goal-oriented? Do you serve others? And sometimes you just have to be assertive. Not all the times, but sometimes that may come in depending on the context. Another major area I wanted to leave you with is emotions. You know, sometimes in the past, presidents come and say, I'm done, I'm finished, I can't deal with this anymore. You know, and you have to have patience as a leader, and you have to control your emotions, being aware, you know, of your actions and your words. Very, very important. You know, being cognizant of, you know, the contribution of others without getting angry, you know, without neglecting differences or opinions from others, but embracing it and deliberately setting out to, you know, read, study, and review some of the things that you do and you are doing so that you can grow and improve on an ongoing basis. Next slide. And here we have, it's just a leadership framework from a school that I was really impressed with. And really what this framework promulgates is student leadership empowerment. So what they say is that every student, you know, and I'm giving the example, let's say in Interact Club, has the potential to be an effective and inspiring leader. All right, they have to commit the character qualities I spoke about, courage. But the framework can also aid, you know, in student leadership programs, as what we're doing today and what, you know, you can have within your school. Leadership programs that want to imbue students with relevant skills to become confident, inspiring, and responsible leaders. So what would be key is that in this workshop and program, students are engaged, equipped with the necessary skills, but geared towards becoming very responsible leaders. And this trajectory and this leadership journey, through that, they will become more empowered, you know, to serve in several Interact platforms. Next slide. I know time is upon us. So some of my final thoughts, of course, in terms of what is happening, in terms of leadership, in terms of what you do. One that comes to mind that would really encapsulate everything that we have done so far is a quote that I want to share by Maya Angelou, and I'll explain, from Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now, Part 3, The Sweetness of Charity. And she says, and tell me what this means, you can put it in the chat. When we cast our bread upon the waters, we can presume that someone downstream, whose face we will never know, will benefit from our action, as we who are downstream from another will profit from that grantor's gift. And if you are an effective leader, a leader that could embrace what Maya Angelou is saying, service, compassion, and love, then you would be able to move mountains. And to leave you student leaders that we are so proud of, I want you to understand, among all the quality, skills, and characteristics that we spoke about today about student leadership. I want to dwell for 1 second or 10 seconds on the importance of emotional intelligence as leaders by Daniel Goleman. Why? Why? Because it builds on self-awareness, your own self-awareness as a leader, self-confidence, self-management, for example. Part of self-management is trustworthiness, adaptability, innovation. Part of that emotional intelligence deals with social awareness. For example, empathy and organizational awareness and relationship management, such as your influence on others, conflict management skills and teamwork. Very important, I ask you, to enjoy and to promote as leaders the gift of your astute leadership through your service that embraces Rotary's very, very wonderful values: diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Nisha, Rotary and Nisha, past President Nisha, for your presentation on leadership challenges. We will have a short break, 5 minutes. At this point, it's, as you see, it's a Q&A, and we would love to get some comments from the interactors. If you want to put it in the chat, if you feel that you want to actually make a comment, then you can do so as well. But before we move into Interact initiatives, which will be the final segment, and we'll speak to, as implied, the initiatives that we have, the initiatives that are available for Interact, both at the district level, at the zone level, and at Rotary International.
So Chair Soraya, while we open up for questions and answers, I know that interactors seem to be all shy tonight. So we're going to put another poll on there. And this time I really want persons to get the opportunity to answer. And it's a pity I don't have any music to play while the polls are going, and you don't want me to sing interactors, unless there's an interactor who is brave enough and who is willing to sing for us or play us some appropriate music. So there you go, I'm giving you something to do. But we just want a feeling from you on what you think or how you feel about your interactions with Rotary and with other Interact clubs within your country. So on a scale of 1 to 5, it's not a large scale, just tell us, how happy are you with your sponsor club? With 1 being not happy and 5 being very happy. And the second question, on a scale of 1 to 5, how is the cooperation of all the other Interact clubs within your country, with 1 being we never cooperate and 5 being extremely cooperative? We get along great. You're always having something happening within your Interact club. So please, while we wait for you to feel brave enough to ask any questions, give us some feedback on the relations with Rotary and Interact within your country. Anything else you wanted to add, Chair Soraya?
No, not at the moment. I'm hoping that they respond to the polls. I mean, we've been getting some good response to the polls, the earlier polls, so hopefully we get some answers now.
We're definitely getting some answers coming in. About 81% have answered, which is better than the last poll. And I did not hear anybody say, I'm willing to sing. Okay, so I will end the poll and share the results. And
Thank you.
I am not sure. Are you going to lead it, Chesaraya, or?
You can go ahead. You can go
Okay.
ahead. Thank you.
So I hope you're seeing the results, Chesaraya. You're seeing yes. So we're seeing that we have persons that are generally happy with the 4 and 5 range having the highest percentage. We did have at least 1% responding that they're unhappy. So that's something for us to look out and see how we can change that 1% to join the majority. And in terms of cooperation, we have some varied results with about 37%, saying that they're great, they get along well. And then we go down with maybe about 3%, they do not cooperate in any way. So it's very telling for us. Chesaraya, back to you.
Thank you. We certainly have a lot of work to do within our District Interact Committee, within our District Interact community as well. And I'm hoping, in fact, I would love to hear from some presidents on the call. Are there any presidents who would like to share how their year has been going so far? Any best practice that you feel other clubs would be could benefit from? Can I put that challenge out to a president to share with us? We have over 30 clubs represented here this evening. Who is going to accept that challenge before we move on to the next segment?
Sure. My name is Nathan Nanku from Hillview College, representing Hillview College Interact Club.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. I'd just like to say, so far, my club has been able to produce a lot of good ideas because of the type of members that we have on the executive, as opposed to other years, as well as the collaborative efforts with other clubs that are in our vicinity and getting ideas from them, as well as also branching out to other members from other clubs in our district. We have been able to gather a lot of additional help when it comes to formulating what we should do. As well as another thing that we did is that we have other clubs going around the school that we are able to collaborate with and get things done. So that's just my 2 cents on what we are doing so far.
Thank you very much, President Nathan, correct?
Yes.
President Nathan, thank you so much for taking up my challenge and for sharing with us. I know that past President Nada will be sharing on our district newsletter, but I just want to say here that we welcome the opportunity to share your club activity with the rest of the district. So please, if you can, share some of the activities with us via email. I think she's posted her email in the group, our email in the group, so that you can access and send the information out to us. But very, very pleased with what you just indicated. So keep up the good work so far. Thank you. Is there any other president willing to share before we move on to the final presentation? Go ahead, President Anissa.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Anissa Ali, the president of Holy Faith Convent, Pinal. So far, as president, everything's been going well. Our board members are very cooperative, and we are a lot about teamwork, and also the other members are also very cooperative and very enthusiastic and love to share their ideas.
Awesome, outstanding report. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Excellent. Okay, so we've heard from 2 presidents from 2 of our Interact clubs. They're both from Trinidad. I see another hand up. Is that Makeda?
Hi, good night. I am Makeda from Barakoa Secondary School. We are a proposed Interact club, and so far everyone is working well together, and we are hoping for approval soon.
Welcome. I did recognize that there are quite a number of you on the call this evening. So welcome to our Interact community, and we absolutely look forward to working with you guys.
We look forward to working with you guys as well.
Awesome. We're very excited about that. Very nice. The newest club on the block, so to speak. We have quite a number of hands up. Nada. Past President Nada.
No, sorry. Oh, are we taking more hands now or after?
I see 4 hands up, so we will just hear from these interactors quickly and then start your presentation, okay?
Sure, no problem.
Fasil?
Good night.
I hope I pronounced it correctly.
So I am the president of the Presentation College Interact Club. So far for the year, everything has been going fine. We have good cooperation with all the other Interact clubs from the various parts of the country. So we have a project coming up that we would like to do. So for next year, we want to partner with the UE Blood Donor Foundation to have a blood drive within the country. So we could try and help all the people within the country that need help in attaining good blood and to just do some service. And then we also have a lot of things that like we want to come up like some other plans such as like a Christmas toy drive as well as a concert to try and bring awareness to bring peace within the community. So that's just my contribution in parts with the Interact Club for the year so far.
Thank you very much, Fasil. President Fasil. I can't, Rugiva, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
It's Rujifa.
Rujifa.
Good evening, everyone. I am Rujifa Stufer, president of Interact Club through Tekantin. We are from Suriname.
Wow.
Yes. So far, the year has been going great. We already we already did some community service projects, and tomorrow is our second fundraiser for this year. We really work well together. There's a lot of teamwork going on within the board and the board of directors. Also, the fellows, we have a lot of new members. They're now prospective members and they help a lot. We also get invited by our other Interact clubs, Brick by Brick and Can We. And we also do projects together, and our sponsor club is also very amazing. Thank you.
Great report. Thank you very much. Now I recognize that we have 5 other hands, and I'm asking that if you could allow us to just move into the presentation, and then we will come back to you after the presentation. I'm hoping that that's okay. I will actually call you out when the presentation is completed. Okay, thank you very much. Past President Nada, you can continue with your presentation.
Good evening, everyone. So I will be presenting this evening some of the Interact initiatives. And now they're initiatives by the district, by Rotary International and Zone 34, but I will start with some of District 7030 Interact initiatives. And these initiatives are posted all over our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and emails are sent to the sponsor club presidents, so you can liaise with them for more information. So starting with our newsletter, The Changemaker. This year, our newsletter will be sent out 3 times. So we'll have 3 district newsletters in October, in February, and in June. So we are looking forward to hearing from you, so your stories can be posted on the newsletter. So some of the things that we look for some of your club stories, and you should send in some pictures for us, a maximum of 4 pictures. We want to know your schedule for the upcoming year, like what are your plans? If you have any meetings, any events, any fundraisers, you could send us your plans for the upcoming year. Send us your president profile. Send us a picture of your president and a profile of your president, and they could be featured in our newsletter. As well as you can send us any fun activities that you have done in the past 4 to 5 months, and it will be featured in our newsletter. So if you need any more information, you can email us. I put the email in our chat. So email us your stories for the newsletter. Second initiatives is IPOTS. It's our training for presidents and officers, which is taking place today. And we will try to have this every year. Then we have RILA. RILA is upcoming. RILA is going to be taking place on the 14th and 15th of January 2023. And you can look out with your sponsor clubs to register for RILA. We will also be posting links to register, so you can look out on our Facebook and Instagram pages. Then we have our District 7030 citation. I will discuss a bit more of the citation in the next slide, but the citation really is for you to fill out a form, and you can look out for this form on the District Interact page. I have put that link in the chat as well. Go to our District Interact website and you can get the form for citation. You can also become a member of the Polio Plus Society, and by donating $100 collectively. So if your Interact Club donates $100 to the Polio Plus, you can become part of the Polio Plus District 7030 Society. Then we have our environmental project. This Interact environmental project is really about green spaces and happy spaces. So the primary objective of this project is to cultivate a space in your school or community that looks visually appealing, but not only looks visually appealing, but also benefits the environment. So again, you can check the website for more information. I have linked the website. There is full documentation on the environmental project, and we want you to register your project via the website. Then we have District Conference and Awards, which is coming up in June of 2023. This District Conference and Awards was very successful last year. It was our first, and it was totally run by Interactors. So you get to run your own conference, you get to be presenters at the District Conference and Awards. Next slide. So the district citation, you can find this on the district website. You can find the criteria to gain points on the website. In order to get a district governor citation, you have to gain 300 points or above. To get a gold citation, you gain 200 to 300 points. Silver citation is 150 to 200 points, and the bronze citation is between 100 to 150 points. Now you have to apply for your citation before April 12th, 2023, and we will be announcing all the citation winners at our district conference and award. You can find more information again, as you see here, on our district site page on Facebook and Instagram. So now, as you know, we are part of Zone 34, and Zone 34 also has Interact Awards. They have a criteria as well. You can find this criteria on the District Interact page. Clubs that score at least 40 points out of 75 will qualify for this award. So now, once you have completed the form, the application form that you'll find on the website, it must be signed by your sponsoring club president. So you need to either email it to them, deliver it to your club president for it to be signed before it will be passed on to the district governor. And this must not be done later than the 31st of March 2023. And we will be continuously reminding you of this so you wouldn't miss this date. Next. There is also Rotary International citation, and they also have their own criteria where you need to do a minimum of 11 goals out of 20 goals. Only Interact clubs that are listed as active on Rotary International database can earn the citation. So you need to liaise with your Rotary sponsor club to ensure that you are listed as active. All activities need to be completed and the nomination form will be submitted by your sponsor club by August 15th. So you have to send in all your reports, all your club stories, all your pictures to your Rotary sponsor club so that they can complete this nomination form by August 15th of 2023. Next. And Rotary Interact Awards is coming up. Rotary Interact Awards, the deadline for this is December 1st, 2022. So we have 2 more months to apply. Well, technically 1 more month to apply for this. You can submit 1 video, 3 photos, and or 1 essay. So you can submit in each category or you can submit 1 category. And nominations are closing on 1st of December. Awards will be given for best video, best photo, best essay. Now, if you check our Facebook and Instagram page, or you check Rotary Interact Awards page, you can get ideas on what type of videos to submit, what type of photos, what type of essays, and you can see past videos, past photos, so you can get ideas on what to submit. As well as if you have any questions, you can always email us and we can help you with this. So a summary of all the awards that is coming up. So we have the Rotary Interact Award Visual on December 1st of 2022, 1 month to prepare. District Citation on April 12th of 2023. The Zone 34 Interact Awards on the 31st of March 2023, and Rotary Citation on August 15th, 2023. So we all know and we heard before that Rotary Interact is turning 60 this year, and World Interact Week will be celebrated on the week of November 5th. It is between the 31st of October and 6th of November. And you can participate in a variety of activities with your sponsor club to increase Interact awareness. Now, in order to obtain a certificate of recognition, you must register the activity that you're going to participate in, send it to your sponsor club, and you will be recognized for participating in Interact Week. So in order to stay in the know, in order to find us, to get more information, we would like you to check our district Facebook group. We have a district group called District 7030 Interact Group. You can visit the District 7030 website, which I linked, and you can find links to all our pages. You can find links to our YouTube page, our Instagram page, our Facebook page. And you can also, of course, email us at interact@rotarydistrict7030.org. If you have any questions, any queries, you can always email us. If you have any videos you'd like to upload, if you have fun activities, anything Interact related, feel free to always email us. That's it. Any questions, I think, any comments and questions, feel free to ask now.
Thank you, Past President Nada, for your presentation. We are almost at the end of our session. I would like to invite, though, the interactors who had put up their hands before. You have an opportunity. We still have a couple of minutes before we close. So if I can ask President, I believe they're all presidents, President Lana, Matthew, Swasti as well. We invite you now to share if you are still here with us.
Hi, good afternoon. Matthew Ramnik here. Can you hear me?
Good evening, Matthew.
Good evening. So on behalf of the Shiva Boys Hindu College Interact Club in Pinal, Trinidad. So our Interact Club is up and running for a few years now. This year it's been great so far. And what you were saying earlier on that about the sponsorships and to have fundraising and whatnot, we're actually having our first fundraiser next week, but there's a raffle sheet. And for our raffle sheet, we have these prizes and then that will be sponsored to us. And beside that, we also have a lot of activities planned and lined up for this term and for next term as well too. And even for next term, we are hoping to probably collaborate with other Interact clubs in Trinidad in District 70 to accomplish some other activities as well, possibly like beach cleanups and whatnot, get more people involved, spread the word, get more interactors, and even train other volunteers involved in the community to come with us on this amazing journey and experience.
That's outstanding. So are you now the president of Shiva Boys?
Yes, that is correct.
Congratulations then, because I remember that you were very involved in our district conference last Rotary year. So congratulations again, and thank you for sharing. Now, the only way the district Interact committee would be aware of your activities and projects is if you share these with us so that we can publish in the newsletter, right? So just following on from what Past President Nada would have shared, we really invite all of you to keep us informed so that collectively we can see what our Interact community is about, what we're actually doing to impact our various communities. Go ahead, Swasti.
Hi everyone, so I'm from Trinidad and Tobago and I'm the president of the Lakshmi Girls Hindu College Interact Club. So our club, we've been chartered since 2009 and it's probably the most active club in the school. For this term, we have a lot of projects planned. We're planning to take part in the environmental project. We have a whole Christmas week planned with fundraising activities, fun things that the entire school would be able to enjoy. We have a kindness project that we want to do, where we would be promoting like the 4-way test and service above self. We also have started joint projects already. So we worked with the groups, well, the other Interact clubs in our district to plan a mental health webinar. And we're also part of the blood drive that Physio mentioned earlier. So yeah, I think we have a lot of stuff going on and our members have been, like they've just been given ideas like crazy. Like every day I just get messages with, I have an idea for this. So everybody's just been cooperating really well.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I hope that with all these testimonies, you're actually inspiring other clubs or other interactors present here this evening. So thank you very much for sharing, Swasti. Lana?
Hello, good night, everyone. My name is Lana Hussein. I am from Trinidad and Tobago as well. I am the Interact president of Holy Faith Convent, Cuba. And we have great communication, great cooperation, and a lot of good teamwork skills amongst not only our board, but our club itself.
we have been coming up with a lot of ideas, which some of them are one that is up and coming in collaboration with our district with Presentation College Bonus and Lakshmi Girls High School, a mental health awareness seminar that will be taking place next week. And our own personal events that we had gotten approved were a women's rights campaign, a hamper drive, a toy drive for children's home, a book drive amongst the student body, polio awareness, community cleanup, and that's just to name a few. We have a lot of our club members other than our board coming up with ideas, especially for fundraisers in raising awareness while gaining funds to help contribute to things like the hamper drive. And I am really appreciative of my board and my club because communication and our teamwork skills has been very well, and I have no complaints whatsoever. So we are also in collaboration with the blood drive that will be taking place with our district. So I have no complaints from my board so far. Everything has been going well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We still have some hands up. So very quickly, Soran, is it? I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yes, miss, you pronounced it correctly.
Okay,
Hi,
awesome.
good night, everyone. My name is Saran Sama. I am the president of Azure Girls College San Fernando's Interact Club in Trinidad and Tobago. Firstly, I would like to say that I am really excited to be president of my club. I love being able to have this position to make a difference in the lives of not only people within my school, but in my community. I have no complaints whatsoever about my board members. I think that we work really well together. And my vice president, Shrima Bulu Singh, she's extremely helpful all the time, as well as my other board members. My club actually had a fundraiser / event last week, Friday in school, where we called it Weird Pink Day, where we were allowed to wear pink hair accessories in support of breast cancer. And the money that we donated will be going towards the Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society. We also sold breast cancer pins, and we did raise a lot of money from that as well. And in addition to that, we simultaneously did a fundraiser to raise money for the polio eradication project. So we will be working towards donating that money as well. And we do have a lot of projects coming up. We would like to do 2 drives actually for Christmas. So we are looking really forward to making a difference during our term.
Awesome. Absolutely excited by these reports. Jada from Queen's College.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jada Charles, and I'm representing the Interact Club of Queen's College from Guyana. I have been very pleased with the members of my club so far, as they seem very enthusiastic to serve the community. Recently, myself and other members of the executive body have been able to recruit copious members during one of our events for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which was the distribution of pins. Also, yesterday we had an assembly in observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Additionally, our sponsor club has been absolutely spectacular so far, and I'm certain that this will continue.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing, President Jada. JD?
Hi, I'm Shade, Vice President of Interact Club of Brick by Brick. And our bond with our sponsor club has been very good. And we have also had very good communication with other Interact clubs. Actually, next week we will be having an international understanding project, which is a food fest, and we would like to all the countries in the 7030 district to submit the recipes that we can recreate here in Suriname to promote at the food fest and teach the people from Suriname about the cultures of other countries. We also have an upcoming Blood Series project, and this is a project that is for menstrual poverty to help that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing and congratulations for being the first president of Brick by Brick
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we will take two more. Lavanya.
Hi, good night, everyone.
Good night.
The president of the St. Joseph Convent Interact Club in Trinidad. And I have no complaints. The board members are very cooperative in all the events that we have planned, and everything that we have to get done is done very efficiently, especially with the Rotary board. We have a good relationship with our sponsor club. We have a lot of new things planned, like we're raising funds through our lollipop sale with fund packs on it for polio next week, and we will donate the money to the polio fund. And we also had a lot of fun in the interpostal cleanup. And we're definitely working on getting a peace pole installed in the school. So yeah, no complaints.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And we have Tia from Interact Club of CCSS right here in St. Lucia. Welcome, Tia.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. I am very pleased with how the members and the prospects of my club have been participating in the different activities. So far, we've started raising funds for polio and breast cancer. Sometime last week, we sold breast cancer pins, and we also go to the different classes to collect funds for polio. We also plan on doing something for International Men's Day, as well as a children's toy drive. And during Interact Week, one of our many goals is to give something to the educational support, professional support people. So people who are in the school, but they are not teachers. And yeah, for now, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Tia. Thank you very much to all the Interact presidents who shared with us this evening. It's so, it's just heartwarming. Honestly, I'm always blown away by your passion and your interest in getting involved in community service, and certainly as presidents, taking up the challenge to lead in your Interact clubs this year. So thank you so much again. We are literally 7 minutes past our scheduled end time. So I think that we need to wrap up now. So as the District Interact, on behalf of the District Interact Committee, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity. We set some objectives at the start of the session, and we hope that from your perspective that we achieve these goals, and we hope that we satisfied your own individual objectives as well. We hope that the information that we shared was meaningful and that you now feel empowered or better equipped to manage your clubs and serve successfully as Interact leaders. We encourage you to reach out to your sister clubs, collaborate, connect, get to know each other, and let us build our District Interact community. So we'll end with my favorite Interact phrase: Interact is serious fun. So please have loads of fun while changing the world. Thank you again. And if you have any final comments, please place in the chat for us. And there's also a poll out there. I'm hoping that you participated in the final poll for the evening. Thank you again, Interactors. And I look forward to meeting with you again. This is just the first of more sessions to come. Thank you again.